Hey guys, welcome back to PristineZReads. Today I'm going to be reviewing The Silent Songbird by Melanie Dickerson, book number 7 in the Hagenheim series. So this is the super spoiler version. If you would like the no spoilers version, please go and check out my no spoiler video. Alright, let's get to it. So, first up is my overall summary and plotline. Alright, so this book is a retelling of the Little Mermaid story, and it is told mostly from the point of view of Evangeline. And Evangeline is the illegitimate daughter of King Richard's uncle, Lionel of Antwerp, and is dependent on the king's kindness for her well-being. Evangeline sometimes feels like she is trapped in her home of Berkhamsted Castle in Hertfordshire, England, as she wishes to go out and experience the world and marry for love, unlike some arranged marriages. But unfortunately, she receives word that the king is trying to betroth her to one of his advisors, the Earl of Chivoli. And Lord Chivoli is an old, disgusting man, and there are rumors that he murdered his first wife. And Evangeline has no desire to see him, much less marry him. So when King Richard sends her a letter and visits with Lord Chivoli saying that they are to be married, Evangeline thinks she would rather die than marry Lord Chivoli. And as she sees a group of peasants in Berkhamsted Castle's courtyard, she overhears that they are from a village named Glenball, and they came to Berkhamsted Castle to sell some things. And Evangeline decides right then and there that she will leave with them. So Evangeline packs a bag of essentials and slips away in the middle of the night to join these peasants. But she is caught by her lifelong friend and companion, Muriel. Muriel is also an illegitimate daughter of an important man and is dependent on the king's kindness as well. But although she is older than Evangeline, Muriel feels that she has a duty to stay with her. So Muriel decides to come with Evangeline, and so they both set off to join this group of peasants, both assuming false names. Muriel introduces herself as Mildred, and Evangeline pretends her name is Eva. Evangeline also pretends she is mute, as she has a well-known singing voice, and she fears that it might give her away. So she pretends to be mute, and Muriel lies and says that Evangeline was beaten by her former mistress and she had a throat injury, therefore she can't speak. So among the group of peasants is Wesley Lewice, the son of the Lord of Glenball. Wesley is drawn to Eva immediately and feels a sense of duty to take care of her, as he cannot imagine how her mistress must have abused her, or supposedly. So he looks out for Evangeline right from the start. So they arrive in Glenball, and since it is harvest time there, Wesley decides to put Evangeline and Muriel to work in the fields. However, they have no idea what to do, as they've never been doing any servant work at all during their time at living at Berkhamsted Castle. So their hands get badly blistered, and Wesley sees Evangeline's hands and takes pity on her and moves her to work in the Glenball Castle as a house servant and helping his mother and the cook. So Evangeline starts to settle in, making friends with some of the other servants who take pity on her because she is mute. One servant, however, Sabina, is jealous of Evangeline, as Sabina wants to marry Wesley, but sees that Wesley likes Evangeline instead. So Sabina goes out of her way to be rude and mean to Evangeline, playing mean pranks on her. But Evangeline learns how to deal with it and starts taking self-defense lessons from a man named Reeve Fulsham. She becomes quite good at archery and finally starts to feel like she is fitting in at Glenball. But one day she is singing to Muriel, which was risky because she was pretending to be mute. And Wesley walks by and overhears Evangeline singing. He is immediately outraged and heard that Evangeline lied, and Evangeline feels terrible and tries to make it up to him, but it took some time for Wesley to forgive her. They start to develop a friendship based on their reading of the Latin Bible, as Evangeline has always had a desire to read the Bible but never had one of her own. So they develop a friendship on that. And after Wesley forgives Evangeline, he asks her to represent Glenval in their Harvest Festival. Since there's a singing competition, he is sure Evangeline will win, so Evangeline enters, but under her false name of Eva. She eventually breaks down and confesses to Wesley her real identity, and Wesley is worried because he sees Lord Chively's men riding through their village one day, and Lord Chively's men even questioned Wesley if they had seen Evangeline, but Wesley smoothly evaded their questions and warned her. Meanwhile, Muriel is feeling discontent in Glenval and tells Evangeline that she is leaving to Berkhamsted Castle immediately. Evangeline begs with Muriel to stay, but Muriel has her mind made up and returns to Berkhamsted with another group of peasants. Anyway, so the festival happens and Evangeline wins the singing competition. And for a while she feels that everything is perfect and that she is just like a peasant, and maybe one day she could even be free to marry for love like the peasants do. But that is cut short as she is captured by some of Wesley's enemies who know that they can hurt Wesley by hurting Evangeline. However, Evangeline escapes and rescues Wesley in the process with her amazing archery skills. As soon as that happens, however, they receive word from a man who just came from Berkhamsted Castle, and this man says that Lord Chively has captured Muriel and has been torturing her and trying to get Muriel to tell them where Evangeline is. Muriel has finally broken down under the pressure and confessed to them where she is, and this man says that Lord Chively and his men are riding towards Glenval even now. So Wesley and his dad, the Lord of Glenval, immediately set out with a group of peasants who have been sort of training to be soldiers, as they don't have much in the way of armies at Glenval. They set out to rescue Muriel, and Wesley tries to convince Evangeline to stay at the castle, but Evangeline puts on men's clothing and sneaks out. While they are riding to Berkhamsted Castle, Lord Chively intercepts them and threatens Wesley to reveal where Evangeline is. Evangeline gives herself up to save Wesley, and when they arrive at Berkhamsted Castle, Lord Chively and Wesley have a mini fight in which Wesley gets pushed into the castle moat. Evangeline is inconsolable, thinking that maybe Wesley drowned, but Wesley is a good swimmer and he survived. Anyways, the king is also at Berkhamsted Castle, and the king says to Evangeline that he wants her and Lord Chively to get married immediately. So Lord Chively and Evangeline go to the chapel to say their vows, but while King Richard is getting dressed for the ceremony to be a witness, Wesley finds his way into the king's room and tells him about Evangeline and the way she does not want to marry Lord Chively and how they suspect that Lord Chively murdered his first wife. Wesley also tells King Richard something another person from Berkhamsted Castle said to him, and this person said that Lord Chively is trying to marry Evangeline so he can take over King Richard's throne, because then he would have a stronger claim to the throne if he married a cousin of the king. So King Richard is immediately suspicious and goes to the chapel pretending everything is alright. He drags it out of Lord Chively, and Lord Chively confesses that he wants to marry Evangeline just because he wants to take over King Richard's throne. A battle ensues, but King Richard, along with the help of Wesley and his father, are the victor. And they defeat Lord Chively, and the king grants Wesley permission to marry Evangeline, and yeah, they get married. The end. Alright, now to the morals. First up is Christian beliefs / other worldviews. I do think this book had a slightly heavier Catholic influence, with mentions of confessing to priests, being absolved, that kind of thing. But yeah, it wasn't like theologically wrong. It was all doctrinally sound, just like mentions of those Catholic things here and there. Next up is violence. There were some fights. There's that last battle in the chapel. And then there was Lord Tribbley and Wesley's fight on the outside of the castle. And then there was Evangeline getting kidnapped, and then she had to save Wesley. Alright, that's it for violence. Next up is romance. So I think this book was one of the slightly higher romance levels in the series. Like, nothing inappropriate. They're all clean romances. Of course, Evangeline and Muriel are mentioned as being illegitimate daughters of important men. That's it. Next up is my rating and recommended age level. So I'm going to rate this one 5 stars. I think it's one of the more well-written books in the series. I definitely think it had a great amount of suspense, action, danger, and romance. They were all equally balanced. It was perfect. The plot was fast-paced and left me hanging on the edge of my seat. And I'm going to boot the the age level back up to 13 to 14 plus because of the slightly higher romance level. Again, nothing wrong with it, nothing wrong with the content or the morals. Parents, please use discretion based on your child's age, maturity, and understanding. I think I am now tying this book with The Fairest Beauty for my favorite book in the series, and The Golden Braid. But yeah, it's a 3-way tie. Anyways, links to this book in the description below. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye! Evangeline was sitting on a cushion on the ground in the little reading alcove when Wesley came and held out a wooden bowl to her. What is it? Apples and cream.
Apples? I thought an entire apple orchard was enough, but oh well, cream makes everything better.
Wesley sat beside her with a second bowl. She held up the bowl to her face and breathed in the aroma of cooked apples, cinnamon, and cloves.
Don't waste your time breathing it. Just shove your face in the bowl and swallow it whole. Hey, that rhymes. Shove your face in the bowl and swallow it whole.
Her mouth watered.
My mouth is watering too.
Wesley handed her a spoon. The smile on his face made her forget the apples.
How could you forget the apples? Are you a real person or what?
But when he started eating from his own bowl, she dipped her spoon in. Did you eat apples and cream at Berkhamsted Castle? He asked between bites.
I don't live in a castle, but I enjoy eating apples and cream any day.
Yes, but our cook was not very generous with her cloves and sugar. It didn't taste as good as this. When she glanced up at him, he was grinning.
I don't care how many cloves or sugar in there. I don't even know what cloves is. Huh? I just care about eating the apples. And the cream, too.